What's going on, everybody? It's the coach. I am back outside again, and I finally get to do a baseball interview. And I have the privilege to interview probably one of the most sought after pitching coaches, and not just the Southland area, but all of the Chicagoland area. And I just learned his last name, and I've known you for a few years now. I'm here with Coach Carnell Blackman.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's finally good to actually be in this space now and get a chance to talk to you and
Appreciate
see
it.
you outside of the normal baseball circles
Yeah.
that we always link in.
So,
So I'm gonna just get right into it. Southside Chicago, right?
mm-hmm.
Talk about how your upbringing on the South Side, shaped you into the ball player that you became later on.
I mean, it was like, well, we always went outside. We always, played around, off the wall, strike out, sit on the front porch with me and my cousin. And, just at the park, man, just being able to, just enjoy, have fun with it. That's why I kind of like fell in love with it, man. Just being out there. Nobody really played baseball, you know what I'm saying? So baseball was normally basketball, football. I tried football, that didn't work.
Understood, same.
I tried football, that didn't work, man. Basketball, that wasn't my thing. And,
Same, I was too short.
Yeah, so my cousin played baseball, so I was always over his house, so it was just something for me to do.
Gotcha.
And I ended up, taking a liking to it, and then, we was always at Thule Park, Cole Park. I was always over his house. We was over there playing, and I mean, the rest is history for the most part.
For sure. So we move on. We grow up. First of all, Hyde Park, right?
Hyde Park.
Okay. When did you come out?
06.
Oh, we classmates. Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to class of 2006. It's our
Yes, sir.
20th year.
Man, that seems so long ago.
Your event, y'all all classes coming
Yeah.
up. I'll be there because Black Baseball Media, apparently we got to make an appearance. So I'll see y'all at the Hyde Park reunion. I'm actually looking forward to it.
It's nice, man. It's nice.
So talk about that time before we even head off to college. Let's talk about those 4 years. I'm from the suburbs. I'm literally from Hillcrest, right up the street.
Yeah.
And we, at the time, there was no internet, there was no social media, anything like that. It was just word of mouth, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Talk about what it was like playing, in Chicago, playing in, the Chicago Public League during that time.
Man, it was back then, man, it was crazy. Like the public league was, man, it was crazy. It was tough. It was tough, man. I mean, like those guys, even the coaches of the day, Smokes, David, Marcus, Ernest, you know what I'm saying, Harlan, the public league was, man, it was tough. Like every time you went against one of those teams in the red, like it was like you had to compete. Mount Carmel was still Mount Carmel. Catholic League was a Catholic League, but the public league, we gave pretty much anybody a run for their money at any point in time, any day. So it was tough, man. It was every game was tough. It was tough to get a win in that red, with those guys playing. So it was, man. It's just it was competitive, man. Like everybody was good. You showed up to the party, it was like everybody. It wasn't all, well, you face a team, it was just all these guys. No, it was good unless you schedule a non-conference game, something like that. So Coach Frank, Kenny, Radcliffe, like those guys, man, they had it rolling, man. It was some good baseball, man. Definitely some good baseball, man.
That's what I heard, man. We play some good ball out here too, though, man. Shout out to the Birds. But no, so speaking of, the CPL, when you play, how do you see the CPL in comparison to how it is now?
I'm gonna say, I feel we kind of lose a lot of the public league kind of lose a lot of kids to the Catholic league, but I feel like that it could be better, But the group of guys, group of coaches that's there, you got a couple good teams, man. That's that can be well put together. Like a couple years ago, the public league was tough, and it's just like with everything, just like the Catholic, how they drop off there. Every team don't be as good. I believe, and that's nothing wrong with the public league at all. I'm from the public league. I play in the public league. I coach in the public league. Won the city championship and all that good stuff. But I mean, it's just the brand of baseball. I feel like it could be better, because the kids kind of feel like they got to go out, and then they end up going to these Catholic schools and they don't play. They don't play. They don't play. Nothing wrong with going to Catholic at all, but I feel like the best way you get better is to play.
Absolutely.
And you need to go where you're gonna play. Regardless where that's at. You can't get better sitting on the bench. Those guys playing every day. They getting better for the summer. You know, that's college coaches come out and stuff like that. So you definitely can't get better on the bench. So I mean, I feel like the public league is nothing wrong with the public league at all. I just feel like kids just got to stop running away from it. You know, stop going places where they're not wanted. I say it all the time. If they don't come get you, don't go. If they don't come get you, don't go. If they not sought out, if they not coming to looking for you or reaching for you, don't go. You know, because they got their guys, and that's what everybody. You know, so there's nothing wrong with going to the public league. You got a great brand of coaches still in the public league. You know, North and South. You know, it's just, you know, people say the public league. You know, but I don't see nothing wrong with the public league. I just feel like it could be better if our kids just went where they could play it. You know, so for sure. So.
Agreed. All right, well, look, we're going to take a quick moment, take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to actually talk to Coach Carnell about what we really out here for, and that's CTB training. So I'll be back in just a moment. Hey, it's the coach with the coach. Finally get a baseball interview, so I'll see y'all in just a second. All right, so we're back. I'm back here with Coach Carnell. So let's talk about CTB training. When did it start, and how did it start?
So I used to work with Hank a lot. So when I stopped playing, I used to work with Hank a lot, and we was running pitching specific. So we used to travel and we used to like do little stuff like that. So I started, you know, doing lessons with him and started working him. He was a scout, you know, he was an agent, you know, stuff like he is an agent now.
Okay.
You know, so and it's just like, man, you know, I was trying to figure out my way. You know, I was done playing. I was like, man, I still love the game. What can I do? You know what I'm saying? So I found the new approach to an old dream, man. And it was just like, I just fell in love with it, you know, actually helping kids, you know. So started with pitch specific. Hank ended up going to be an agent, just doing his thing. So I kind of went over. I'm like, man, you know, I want to keep it going, so I'm gonna start my own. You know what I'm saying? So I started CTB pitching, you know, which is Carnell Terrell Blackman. That was my initials. You know, in 1988 is the year I was born, whatever. So it's just like, you know, I try to kind of help the kids in a way that they need to be helped. You know, and I kind of go into it as if, you know, the one thing I don't do is I don't train the kids as if they're me.
Okay.
You know, because we try to be like, that's what I did. No, they're not me, and I'm not them. So what I feel like I kind of like dig into who the kid is, you know, and I don't feel like I put Band-Aids on anything. I kind of dig deep and try to actually figure out the problem, you know, actually figure out what he needs, you know, what his inconsistencies is, you know, the things he's good at, things he might not be good at, things he may need to work on, and things in that nature. So it's like, you know, I just feel like I'm so hands-on and I'm passionate about it. So, and I don't just come out here and do it. You know, I don't do it. You know, I got a job if I want to make the money. You know, it's cool, but you know, I feel like you know, it's lost. Like we gotta pay it forward. You know, we gotta pay it forward, and I feel like I left a lot on the table from my playing days. You know, and I feel like I have a lot to tell these kids and teach these kids. You know, I could tell them about both sides. You know,
right.
I could tell them about the good. I could tell them about the bad. I could tell them what'll happen if you don't work hard. I could tell them what the talent. You know, that if you have the talent, that don't mean anything. You know, because I had the talent. You know, so. You know, I pretty much, you know, tell them like, man, you got to be a sponge, learn from me. You know, I try to help these kids and make sure I'm telling them like I don't like my failures. You know, my failures and my, you know, me leaving so much on the table.
Yeah.
You know, and me just being not showing the game respect. You know.
Yeah.
So I tell these kids all the time, you got to appreciate this, man. You know, it's very, very important that you appreciate the game and you give it all you got, because, you know, now you'll sit back and you'll be like, man, you know, I left this, I could have did this. But I kind of got away from that, and I kind of just make sure I'm putting it forward towards the kids. So that's why CTB training, CTB pitching is, you know, what it is now. You know, I got a lot of kids. You know, I've trained from 6 years old to 18 to I got a couple pro guys, you know, college guys. You know, I got some big time D1 guys, I got some D2 guys, I got some D3 guys, you know. Like I tell my guys, the most important thing is you go where you're going to play.
Right.
And everybody got their own path, man. Everybody got their own path, and you got to stick to it.
For
You
sure.
know, I don't care if, you know, this guy's doing that. Don't watch what he does. I don't care if this guy's throwing 90 plus. You have to run your own race. You know, and that's probably some of the problem with, you know, the social media days. You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
you know, so it's like a human highlight. You know, so the kids see that, and then they kind of like go away from what works for them, and then they start chasing numbers. They start chasing things in which it's like if you stick to your process, if you continue doing what you're doing, what works for you. Because I can train, like I train kids different. I might train this kid this way. This might work for him, right? But then I might train this kid. This doesn't work for him. Yeah. So now I have to find out what works for this kid. So it's individualized.
And that's the thing about coaching. One of the things I did as a coach, and it sounds like we align in the same, on the same pathway, is that I can't, like you said, I can't coach you the same way I coach this kid. No. I can yell at this kid, and I know this kid gonna receive it. But if I yell at you, you might shut down. Yeah. But if I coach you hard, I know that any kid that you coach hard, it's because you see potential in them. Yeah. And I think that's the problem with kids these days, is that they see, they see criticism as put down, as opposed to we are just really trying to elevate you to the highest of your abilities. So I definitely agree with that. So you mentioned that you've coached guys at all levels from 6 years old to you got pro guys now. Talk about some guys that just stick out, that you work with them, you coach them, and now they're doing great things. Just few guys that come to mind.
Julian, that's one of the guys I train now. He's trying to find his way in professional ball.
Julian, what's the last name?
What is his last? Vargas. I'm sorry. Okay. He's trying to find his way, but he worked hard, man. I believe he's gonna get his opportunity. And it's like he's like a staple of what I stand for, as far as just come in and get after it, and just don't just. He don't care. Whatever it is we need to do, we do. So I feel like he played pro ball last year, and he was trying to hook onto a team this year. But his work ethic, man. I believe good things will happen for that kid. For sure. I got a couple guys going down D2 schools, D1 schools. I got kids going to Northwestern, Notre Dame, Southern. I got a kid going to Ohio State. I got some kids out of state. I also do remote training for them.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I do remote training. So what I brought along this year, I added. It's like I'm on an app. So what happens is I just filter in the workouts, and they add the videos, and I go and I edit the videos and stuff like that. I also do it for my in-person guys as well, for the off-season training. So I create a 5-day program for the kid, and he kind of go in there, do the workout. He pull the workout, so that way we ain't gotta, he ain't gotta go through all these PDFs and all that. So it's like a full. So every week I'll go in there and edit it and things of that nature. That's for the kids that's taking it serious, locked in, ready to roll. You know what I'm saying? Actually, like trying to take this to a whole nother level. So, but yeah, man, this game is tough, man. It's tough. I've seen a lot, man. I've seen a lot. And the biggest thing is with us, we just got to make sure that we're giving these kids the right direction and where it's coming from. It's what place it's coming from. It's coming from a genuine place, and the kids kind of got to decipher, and they got to trust you.
Absolutely.
They got to trust you. They have to trust you.
Them and the parents, because the parents more times than not, they're the ones that's spending the money.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And the kid, I know a lot of parents are results driven, and so obviously, your results are speaking for itself, which is why your business is booming. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna take one more break, and then when we come back, we're gonna wrap up a little bit more about CTB pitching, and I just want to ask you a few other questions, to close out the show. So, hey, this is our last break, and when I come back, I got a couple more little things I want to know about Coach Carnell, and I think you might want to know him too. So we'll be back, Iron Nose, just a moment. All right, so we are back. So real quick, let's talk a little bit more about CTB pitching. Talk about some of the hurdles, because we always talk about things that are positive, because obviously those are the things that make us stand out. But I'm sure your journey wasn't always, clean and clear. Talk about some hurdles that you dealt with along the way that you overcame and has allowed you to become, this big time pitching coach.
So it's kind of tough, when the parents or when the player, it's kind of like not trusting his process, you know. So it's like you get some kids, like you said, results driven, to where it's like, you know, they might not be getting what they need, you know, at that moment, but is the work getting put in? So it's like you ask them like, hey, yeah, you looking for this, but are you doing the work? And they don't really understand that, you know. And it's like those are the kids that you have. It's kind of tough training, and maybe I might not be for you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to be for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you might not like the way I train because I'm very attention to detail. I'm hands-on. I go frame by frame by frame. My hashtag is breaking it down and build up. I don't cheat the results. I try to make sure they're consistent. You know, I try to make sure they're actual results and not smoke and mirrors. You know, I'm a mechanical guy. You know what I'm saying? I believe velocity will come as you get stronger, as you start being able to build repeatable mechanics. You know what I'm saying? And actually work on arm path and, you know, just movement. I'm a movement guy. You know, I'm heavy on the movement. I love good movers, man, because that's half the battle. Moving downhill, being able to rotate, you know what I'm saying? Being able to have stability with the lower half, balance, and all those different things, man. I mean, that's where it's at. You know, you can chase it, long toss, but you just gotta understand it, man. We have to make sure that these kids are understanding themselves, understanding who you are, know who you are. You know, if you know who you are, then you will trust your process because you can't go off of what he does. You know, you can't go off of what he does. I can't give you what he got. You know, I'm not God. You know, I didn't. You know, so. It's the tough part is like, you know, having a kid sometimes to just understand, you know, understand it. You know, you got those kids that's, you know, they got to buy into it, and then you have those kids to where, you know, they might feel like they're not getting what they need, you know, at that moment, and that's totally fine. You know, my thing is I just want to make sure that these kids, you know, are actually benefiting from this. You know what I'm saying? Actually helping them to get better. You know, regardless if it's with me or anybody. You know, and I don't believe in some of the stuff, you know, that these guys do. You know, and it's because it's smoke and mirrors. You know? We got to make sure that we're doing right by the kids.
Absolutely.
You know, we got to make sure we're doing right by the kids. And that's my biggest thing. You know, everybody that knows me knows, like, I kind of like get attached to the kids.
It's easy to do that.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, I'm working. It's like I'm working. Like I'm going home. I'm gonna review video. I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna create stuff for them. You know what I'm saying? So
and then naturally they just become your kids.
Yeah,
you spend a lot of time
for
with
sure.
them. So yeah,
you know,
I totally get it.
Definitely. So, you know, that the hard part is that, you know, when you know, like, okay, this kid, he's not doing what he needs to do, but it's like he wants something, but he's not working for it, you know. So, and then, you know, the parents, you gotta have the parents, they gotta buy into it too, you know, they gotta understand it. And I allow the parents to come and watch, because I want you to understand what your kid is doing, what you're paying for. This is a service, you know. So as we're training, I try to like implement, hey, listen, this is what we do. You got homework, you know, when you go home, especially for the younger guys, man, because they got to work outside of here. You can't come to CCB pitching one time a week and expect results. It's just not going to happen. You have to do work outside of here, you know, outside of me. You know, you just can't come here. I'm not a miracle worker. You know, you can't come to me one time a week when you got a showcase, you know, and be like, hey, I know it doesn't work like that. You know, it doesn't work like that. You know, you can't put that on me. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of, the parents don't really understand it. It has to be consistency. Just because baseball season over doesn't mean the training
stops. Right.
You know, you got to continuously train. Guys train all year round. You know, that's the good guys train all year round.
Yeah.
You know, you could take your breaks and you take your, you know, the days you need, you know, but you have to stay consistent. You can't go 4 months without training, then expect, oh, why my velo is down. Your velo down because
you're not working.
You're not working. It's not there. The work is not there.
Yeah.
Or you can't train the whole winter and then you done built up all this good stuff. You know, now when the season comes, you just stop training. Then all of a sudden you wondering why you struggling. You know, you're struggling because you started those consistencies and now they become inconsistencies.
Yeah.
You know, so now you kind of exposing yourself, you know. So they just gotta understand, man, you gotta work all year round. If you really want this, you gotta work for it. You got to, man. So yeah, man. Man, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hey, and you hit the nail on the head. I tell my young kids, because now I'm working with younger guys that are just playing for the first time. And a lot of patience. But one thing I've noticed is, like you said, I noticed the ones that are working at home and the ones that only work once a week.
It's a telltale.
And those are the ones that I know in the next 3 to 5 years, they may not know the game today,
Yeah.
but in 5 years or so, by the time they get to be juniors and seniors in high school, they'll be household names.
Yeah.
So, yeah, kids, y'all heard Coach. All the work that you do with him or any coach, you got to make sure you repeat it
Anybody.
at home. It's like you said, homework, on the field, off the field, everything has to work. Everything is about repetition.
For sure.
So before we wrap up, let me ask you a few questions. We're going to stay in the baseball world, but we're going to find out a little bit more about some of your thoughts about the game and people that you played along the way. Who was the one player that when you were growing up or you were coming up, you had to get a good night's sleep for? You knew in school, the day of, I gotta put my best foot forward against this one player.
I'll say Devin for him.
I know Devin. I know Devin. Shout out to Devin.
It was like every time, bro. It was like I never caught a break when it came to showcases. Wherever we went, they put us against each other. It didn't matter where we was at. We can be all the way out in, PBR. Like we was part of the first PBR book. When they first started, we was in that. Those rankings and so when they had the little pamphlet.
I remember.
And we also played Perfect Game. We played in the first, the Midwest team with Puffer.
Okay.
And then we played with HBK. Man, it was like I just couldn't get away from him, And if you made a mistake, it was over with. Like, dude had light tile power. I mean, if you missed,
I know.
If you missed, he ain't never hit me out. Nah, he ain't never hit me out.
Devin gonna see this.
He never hit me out for sure. We battled, we went back. We went back and forth. It was tough, man.
Yeah.
And he was tough. I really dislike Smoke. Brandon, I really dislike Smoke.
He gave me
he was like, man, even as a little kid at 12, little black spot. I played for Southside, he played for Gerald W.
Okay.
It was just like it just was like he just wouldn't get out. He just wouldn't get out. It was tough. Now he wouldn't take you out the park, but
he just hit the ball.
Yeah.
He just hit the ball, so he just put it somewhere.
Yeah, and it was like, those guys at Simeon, it was like those we played them. And the way I pitched, I didn't care. They always just say, Carnell, don't hit me, because I'll throw at you. I'll throw 90 at you, but then I didn't care. I go in there, it didn't matter to me. Like I controlled that box, when it came to that. I didn't even care where it went. At that point in time, it's just like I'm a rev. That's when I was throwing. I just wanted to rev back and throw because I know the guys can hit.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave. What I'm saying, Bird, man. So rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys, man. It was a lot of guys, man. It was a lot of. It was tough. It was tough, man. It was tough. When you played against those guys, it was tough. It was for sure. It was tough, man.
Best teammate. I know you had a lot of them, but if you can pick one, and he didn't even have to be the best player on your team, but who was just that that best teammate? He was either the dog on the field, you knew you was having a rough game, he was right behind you.
I'll say Marcus Rogers.
Okay.
Because, when I was young, when I came in freshman,
and we talking Marcus Rogers, head coach of Homewood Flossmoor.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
It was what happened was with him, it was more so like being a bigger brother for me. I was still raw. You know what I'm saying? My cousin was a little older. He's a year older. We was in the same age around. Marcus was older. And he kind of helped me out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? When it came to when I was struggling or on something, it was just like being a bigger brother. I come in the locker room, not doing what I was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? He kind of gave me, especially going into high school, it's like I don't have to go to class if I want to. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't have that direction. That's why it's important that these kids do understand. When you are coming from 8th grade to high school, it's a big jump.
It's huge.
Because no one is walking you to class. No one is doing it. And it was like, I had to understand that, but I had great teammates. I had Ernest, Marcus, those group of guys, man. Those guys, they was focused on what they wanted, and Melvin, they was focused on what they wanted to do. And luckily I had my 2 cousins play with me. We played on the same team, so we pretty much had to push each other. So, but yeah, I'll definitely say Marcus as being a older brother, kind of I know you got good grades, going to school, going to college, it was just, and it was really off the field as well, what I'm saying? So, yeah, for sure.
Well, shout out to Coach Marcus, man. He's doing great things over at Homewood Flossmoor, so shout out to him and the rest of the Homewood Flossmoor coaching staff and whatnot. So, we're gonna wrap everything up. But before we do, we got people that I'm sure are looking for pitching coaches. How can they find you?
They can go on Instagram, that's CTB Pitching. TikTok, CTB Pitching. Everything is CTB Pitching.
Okay.
Shoot me a DM, shoot me an email, whatever the case may be. But the biggest thing is just work. Even if it's not with me, I don't care who it's with. Just make sure you're getting the work in and being consistent. Creating that muscle memory and actually understanding who you are. And stick to your process. So, like I said, if you're interested, that's totally fine. But whatever you're doing, find somebody to work with. Find somebody that you can gravitate to and that you actually can learn from and actually do it the right way. Not just having you do stuff that doesn't matter. So, yeah.
All right. I'm glad we finally got
Appreciate you.
this,
Yes,
man.
yes, sir.
Hey, Coach Carnell, Coach Sam, we out of here. Hey, baseball season isn't quite over, so by the time this episode come out, hopefully the Chicago White Sox ace will bring back that RBI World Series.
Yes,
so
sir.
good luck in Vero Beach.
Sir. Appreciate you.
I'm a forecaster now. They came back champions. You know what I'm saying?
Both ways.
Yeah,
Both ways.
Always. Yes, sir. But again, Coach, appreciate your time.
No problem,
hey,
brother.
this
Appreciate
is
you.
Coach. Appreciate you some more, man. Hey, finally got my baseball interview out. I've been missing it for a minute, man. But hey, I'm Coach Sam. This is INOs with Coach Sam. I'll see y'all soon, man. Y'all be good.